Greetings everyone, my name is Etterville, and welcome back to my Let's Play of Mega Man Maker. During the last part, I covered 5 Viewers Minute levels, so in this part, I'll be trying out something a bit different. I'm actually following a suggestion by Parada Patata, that being to search random elemental teams using the search bar. So for this first tentative episode, I will be searching for fire stages, or rather using the fire keyword. And I will be picking levels that are only positive, maybe one negatively rated level but mostly positive. Also, just like before, I'll be skipping all of the MMLCC levels. I'll be saving all of those for several future parts. So let's start out with this one. Fireman's Fire Fortress Beta by Oddlee, 27 plays and a score of 5. As always, the full disclaimer of this entire LP series is linked in the description below, along with all the timestamps for every level that are covered in each part. If you want one of your levels to be featured in a future part, please leave the level name and level ID in the comment section below, or direct message me on Twitter. Mega Man 1 physics, and only have access to the Eye Slasher. I guess this is a remake of Fireman's stage from Mega Man 1. It seems relatively on the plain side though. The only things I see here are the beaks and screw bombers. No tackle fires yet. It feels I'm repeating the same segment over and over with just minor amounts of variation here and there. We only have 2 enemy types we have seen so far at the very least. In fact, I didn't even take any damage. At the very least we have the fire bars now, but this feels more boring in comparison to the original Fireman stage. I wonder why this got such a high score though, even though it's relatively on the plain side. I guess it's an older stage and people are a lot more generous back then. Now we have the killer bullets to worry about. At least we have a challenge over here and we actually have the tackle fires too, meaning that this isn't actually an old level. This is a newer level, a rather plain one though. Which is why I find it really strange that this got a score of 5. I would expect this to get a score of only 1 or 2 considering how bland it is. Finally we're getting some challenges here and there with the fire bars and screw bomber combination. Even then it's still on the boring side. Especially because we don't have access to the slide to make things a little bit more faster. I have nothing more to say about this stage actually, other than the fact it's really bland. Even more bland in comparison to Fireman's original stage in Mega Man 1. Which is quite a shame, because there are many ways you can improve upon that previous level. This just feels rather repetitive and bland. Now that was sort of interesting though. And just like in the original Mega Man 1, boss corridors have enemies in them. And we immediately finish the stage even before we fight Iceman. Iceman is the most inappropriate boss choice for this stage. I mean, this is a fire stage and we have an Ice Rod Master at the end. So that's several minus points for that. This is a really below average stage. Even worse than that, it was rather boring unfortunately. So second on the lineup is Fireworks Best, but you can fight fire with fire too. With Mtzpyrakid, 47 plays and a score of 9. That was a little bit of an awkward title there. I hope it's a bit better though. All those extra lives won't do anything, so I guess we're fighting Bomb Man now. What's your weakness? I tried almost... okay, I skipped past some weapons. It seems to be Crash Bomber. Mainly for its multi-hit capabilities. Well, he almost got himself stuck there. The Vera shot, especially fully charged, seemed to do quite a bit of damage as well. So I guess that was the end of Fight Fire with Fire. This was definitely less bland than the previous level, if only because it's a boss fight. Still, I can't give this a thumbs up. It didn't even feel like a fire stage either. Now, Fight Fire with Kakolin28, 30 plays and a score of 5. I'm not sure how many levels I'll be covering in this part. At the very least, I'll try getting enough footage to get up to about 30 minutes or so. Honestly, this screen alone is already more interesting than most of the screens in the first level I covered. That's the sad part. And this screen too. And we have double Firestorm for double weapon energy. I mean, even the level terrain here is a lot more interesting than the previous level, the first level. Because we have junk blocks, Plantman platforms, and all those other fire-type enemies. Sure, they aren't being introduced in the best fashion, that's for sure, but at the very least there's more variety. Think of this as a lower quality fortress level. And checkpoint placement of this stage is on the fine side. Same with the first level, but it was so easy that I didn't really need the checkpoints. No invisible ceilings, thank goodness. Oh, force beams. I see an M-tank over there, but should I risk it? Nah. I don't think the stage is gonna get that difficult where I really need the force beams, the M-tank. And I recognize the screen from Fireman stage, or at least a similar one. This is honestly a better remake of Fireman stage in comparison to the previous level, which is quite sad because this has a lot more gimmicks than Fireman stage originally did have. What I'm saying is this feels more like a legitimate fire stage. Or one that's at least above average. At the very least, average to below average. At the very least, I'm having some sort of challenge and a little bit of fun. So for that alone, it's definitely better than the previous two levels. That was close. That was also really close over there. I somehow dodged two of those attacks at once. Thank goodness I have two firestorms. It's extremely useful here, the shielding capabilities. Especially against the tackle fires, the hotheads, as well as the fire tellies, especially the fire tellies, who are almost always out of reach. Whoops. Oh, that's how you're supposed to do it. I feel a bit embarrassed now. I should have waited over there, especially because the checkpoint was right over there. The checkpoint placement is fine, it's just me failing. But at the very least, this stage actually has a decent level of challenge. And its difficulty progression is going upwards in a smooth curve, although as I said, it's a fortress level, because it's kind of expected you understand these gimmicks already, plus there is a bit of forced weapon usage with the Firestorm. If anything, I'd rate this to be an almost average stage. And time to fight Bombman, who is being supported by 2 of these hotheads. First, let's take care of his cohorts, and now Bombman himself. Well, I already said what I wanted to say about this stage. It's an almost average to average fire-based stage, and it had some level of challenge, and I did have some fun with it. So at the very least I will give it a thumbs up, but it's a very tentative on the edge of not giving a thumbs up. Let's try this fourth one. Fire vs. Fire by Uncle Crashman, 21 plays and a score of 1. Let's hope it's an actual stage, and it looks to be. Ah, Firestorm oriented special weapon stage. I was hoping to find one of these eventually. Hello there, Gachapon. Thankfully we have other special weapons to deal with them to make dealing with them a little bit easier. Because the best way of dealing with them with the Firestorm is to just get right up with them and hit them with the shield repeatedly. At least the projectile or fire wave that we send forward is relatively damaging, 1.5 to 2 points of damage I think. And 4 fire shield hits against the Ben K will destroy them. That is really appreciated. A little bit of a tight jump there. Could have been a bit tighter though. Whoops, I forgot I could respawn. The enemy types over here are making using the Firestorm a bit more challenging, especially in comparison to the previous level, whose enemies were a lot more usable or defeatable using the regular Firestorm. Then again, I had the Mega Buster back then, so that probably explains it. I was a bit lucky over there that I didn't get killed by the Firestorm, or I mean, knocked off the ladder there. And the scrolling of the background is a bit broken over there. It's not scrolling at all, it's just repeating the same background texture over and over. Or background image, I mean. I guess we fight the boss here, Pharaohman. Let me guess what your weakness is. It's probably the Pharaoh shot. No, it isn't. Nope, he doesn't have a weakness at all. Oh boy. This may make the fight a little bit harder depending on how much he jumps. Especially when he keeps firing those Pharaoh shots everywhere. If he stays like this, I'm in much better shape. But when he keeps throwing all those things, I'm going to have some problems. Especially because I don't have access to an E-tank. I guess this means that I have to stay as close as possible to Pharaohman, so I can see where he's going to fire all the Pharaoh waves. Wow, I'm just out of range over there. And that was the end of Fire vs. Fire, a below average fire-based stage. I won't give it a thumbs up, as I felt the previous stage was better. Honestly, these types of episodes, along with the randomly searched levels episodes, really showcases how 90% of the levels in Mega Man Maker are, to say the least, below average. Or barely average. Well, I guess that's Sturgeon's law for you. And only 10% of the levels are otherwise average to above average at the very least. So, there's that. Fight Fire with Fire by PlasmaDiffusion, 17 plays and a score of 3. Let's see how this 5th level stands up. Honestly, with all of the things I've seen so far, I don't have that much faith on these levels. And many of them seem to be using Fireman's stage team. Okay, Firestorm, Flash Stopper, and Rush Coil. Another one of these special weapon-oriented stages. Oh, I see. I think I know how to do this. Point it the other way. And spam Mega Buster. Easy button. That way we can take care of these enemies from afar and not worry about dying. Oh wow. I thought I was gonna fall into a bottomless pit over there, but no, they're count bombs. Oh, that's a bit clever. We have to be a bit careful over here so we can make the jump. So this stage is going somewhere. Okay. I thought there was gonna be a bottomless pit over there, but no. All of it's normal. And we even have alternate routes, too. That's neat. And that's where the pathways loop up with each other, where I could have taken the ladder instead, but I took the scenic route in order to get some extra power-ups. At least that's what I think. I was a bit gambling over there if I would make it across with all these fire bars, especially with their finicky global timers. I knew I was going to be hit over there. Time to fight Bombman and his cohort Hothead. Which is really easy because Bombman is weak against the Firestorm here. A lot easier than the Fairman encounter. This is another below average to almost average stage. It's still not as good as the 3rd or 4th level I played, so I won't give it a thumbs up. Still, you're almost there, Diffracted Illusion. I mean PlasmaDiffusion. Let's see, yeah, this stage, the Fight Fire with Fire. Okay, 6th one. Fire Fortress and Fireproof Man or Robot Ting and a Double Act by SRG, 23 plays and a score of 0. I know this isn't a positively rated level, but it's neither a negatively rated level, so I'll do it. That's a bit of sprite clash over there. And well, that's a lot of hotheads. We only have access to the Shine, too. I didn't expect this many special weapon-oriented stages. So at the very least I can deflect all the shots from all these hotheads. Well, that was a bit of a jerk maneuver there. And... well, I guess the screen scrolling broke over there. So let's not go down there anymore. Oh, I overlooked there were spikes down there too. Well, at least the start of the stage is relatively close by anyway. And the spikes are quite easily distracted, or they're not that easy to see, especially with all the red-based things everywhere. Oh, what just happened? Aren't we supposed to complete the stage over there? Or am I missing something? Let's try this one more time and figure out what's going on there. Ow. I really need the health up there. So let's kill off all the hotheads, get down over here, and figure out what's going on with the stage. What? I'm going to abandon the stage. I don't know what's going on there. I'm sorry, SRG, but I want to sample some more levels. Next up, Fire v Fire by Waffle Cat, 43 plays and a score of 10. A lot of stage titles seem to be using Fire vs Fire or some variation. Although, judging by the score, this will be a bit better. Another Firestorm-oriented stage. And this time we have Woodman's team for some reason. Even though Woodman is weak against the fire. He was weak against the atomic fire back in Mega Man 2, I believe. I'm just waiting for the tackle fires to spawn out of nowhere. Oh, that was very short. This felt like a quarter of a stage. It was going somewhere, but then it ended. So, I won't give it a thumbs up. It just feels like a very simple concept, but it really should have been expanded upon earlier, or further. I did uprate or upvote some stages that I explained as concepts, but those concepts at the very least were interesting. This one just felt like a regular stage that ended way too early. So, there's that. Alright, 8-1. Feild of Doom by BoomBomber, 3 plays and a score of 0. At last, we actually see tackle fires again. Ice Slasher Firestorm. And a full charge shot too, to make things a little bit easier. And really generous checkpoint placement as well. Oh, red force beams here. But nothing too much of a problem, especially with all the energy and life pickups, and the really abundant checkpoints, even though this stage isn't that difficult and it just ended now. Well, I won't give this a thumbs up either, because this felt like a third or half of the stage. This is a common trend I've been seeing with several of these uploaded levels, the fact that you only feel like part of a level instead of a full level. Okay, Firewalker, TFSDragon, 22 plays, score of 2. Another really short one. Ah, an Ice Slasher oriented stage. We haven't had those for a while. In fact, it's a nice change of pace in comparison to all of the other stages I've played so far, those focusing on the Firestorm. I guess the gimmick of this stage is freezing these fire bars at the correct position in order to make these jumps. Gotta be a bit careful here because if we freeze the ground and get hit by the fire bar, well, and we fall in between the spikes over there, well, there's no way of getting out other than dying. And apparently we can actually freeze the other fire bar just from here. Too high. Too high. Yeah, I need to set one block higher. Easier said than done, though. And as you can see, I somehow glitched something. There were invisible collision boxes right there. I keep making this one too high and I can't make the jump. See, it just needs to be a little bit higher and I can make it. There we go. Easier said than done, this stage is a lot more of a waiting game. At least I have infinite Ice Slasher energy. Otherwise, this stage would be a lot more of a pain. Now, water for some reason. Thank you for the checkpoint over there. This is definitely the hardest level I've covered in this part. And we immediately finish the stage here. Just Ice Slasher. Oh, goody. It seems that Crashman is a lot more jumpy here. What's going on the left? Somehow all those crash bombs despawn when they hit the left wall, so I guess I should stay on the right in order to survive. And apparently being on the springs kind of glitches Crashman's AI a bit. As you can see here, because of his jumping pattern being really off. Well, this is an easy way of just exploiting his pattern. Unfortunately, if he drops the crash bomb down there, this will become a lot more challenging. He'll still hit me. Well, I'll try one more level after this one, and then I'll end off this part. I see what I need to do here. Just rinse and repeat, dive over here, and Crashman is stuck in his AI pattern. There we go, that's an easy way of fighting Crashman with his bizarre AI pattern. You saw how fast he could jump and hit the ground. It felt like he was on double gravity or something. So this was an interesting Ice Slasher stage, certainly more on the challenging side, and if you weren't good enough, it required quite a bit of waiting, especially at that second firebar segment. So in terms of that design, I will give it a thumbs up, and the boss fight at the end, even though it's rather exploitable, was a bit fun. Although, like before, this is really on the edge of being fun for me, or acceptable. So, 10th and final level of this part is Master of Fire by Jethawk74, 80 plays and a score of 19. At last, we have a level that scored over 15, let's hope it's somewhat good. And this seems to be a longer stage too. 3 E-tanks. I hope that's not a bad sign though. Firestorm, Atomic Fire, and Pharaoh Shot. All the fire-type weapons in Mega Man Maker so far. Although I'm not sure if I would consider the Pharaoh Shot a fire-type weapon. First we get introduced to the Firestorm with all of these hotheads. I guess each section of the stage will showcase a different type of special weapon. in this case the firestorm. I mean, it just one-shots all of those fire tellies. Even the fireball itself. I'm liking how far the stage is going, actually. And this is where we need to start using other special weapons in order to get across. In this case, a combination of Firestorm and the Atomic Fire. Here we gotta be a bit careful so we don't destroy the blocks that are protecting us. Like here, for example, we should be using the Atomic Fire instead so we don't destroy the ground beneath us. 3 shots should be enough. Never mind, 2 should be enough. Thank you for the refills. I may need them later. There are a lot of hot dogs over here, but I guess they're the only fire-type enemy in this engine, who is a mini-boss. Ah, fair shot time. Oh, I get it. The first section used Fireman's stage aesthetic, second one on Heatman, and the third one the pyramid from Ferroman's stage. I see. I'm just running and jumping on all these tops. I'm not even blowing up the blocks. I see. This is to protect me against the fire tellies. But if I stay still over there, I have no problems whatsoever. Still, this was a neat special weapons oriented stage. One of the more neat ones I've played so far. This is definitely my favorite level to part, and that's not saying much considering what its competition is. It's an average to above average special weapons oriented stage, and I would like to see it taken further. This is one of those stages that really deserves its score of 16. Oh wow, all these bosses together. I see, we need to destroy all of these hotheads, or skip all of them if we want to, and get down to the boss room. Or just finish the stage this way. I guess that previous room was the boss room of sorts, considering how many enemies we had to fight at once. So, I'll definitely give this a thumbs up. It started out nice, had a nice difficulty progression, and I like how they integrated new special weapons into the mix, each of the fire-type weapons in this engine. And I did like how each section had the same stage theme, or rather stage tile set, as the original World Master who had that fire weapon. First with Fireman, then Heatman, then Fairman. So good work, Jethawk74. You should enjoy the score of 20, you deserve it. So that's 10 levels I found by searching the fire term. Honestly, I'm kind of more on the disappointed side, but I shouldn't be surprised. As I stated before, Sturgeon's Law really applies to Mega Man Maker, or user-generated content in general. 90% of everything is below average at the very least, or worse, and 10% of the stuff is average to better. So in the next part, I'll continue onwards by playing through a bunch of random levels. Well then, thanks for watching and have a nice day. Toodles!